Hey guys, a little early today, but um, yeah. So it was a interesting week this week. On my predictions, I was 9-7 again. Um, but we're gonna go over it anyway, just to be like, oh hey, what I think about the games and what happened generally. So first, we're going to go with the Cardinals Panthers game, which honestly, I stopped watching after it was 27-3. And I was like, oh, the game's over. The game's over. And then when I looked back at it, it was 27-15. I was like, oh, God. That's not good. And then when they had the ball last minute to win the game, I was like, we're gonna blow it. I thought that the Cardinals were gonna blow it. My team, the Cardinals, were gonna blow it. I just had a feeling, but thank God we didn't. We had a sack, and yeah, it was it was closer than I would have liked it. Um, Eagles Chiefs, the Super Bowl rematch. It was a lot closer than I thought it would be. I thought that the Eagles would run away at the end with it. I thought it was going to be like 27-10, like 30-17, something like that. I thought that it was going to be like Kansas City would keep up in the first half, like their defense would, and then in the second half, the Eagles offense would just take off. It didn't really happen that way. AJ Brown again did not have a great stat line. 5 catches for 27 yards. It's not horrible. It's not good. It was a disappointing performance. Especially when Jalen Hurts got through for 101 yards and Saquon Barkley ran for 88 under 100 yards. So it was a close game, and I think that Kansas City could have won if Travis Kelce caught that ball in the end zone, but probably just not meant to be. Um, Next game, Rams Titans. I didn't really. Let me check who I picked because I think I picked the Rams here. Yeah, I picked the Rams. I was like, Cam Ward is still a rookie, and it's not really like I don't think that the team around him is very good, but if he keeps improving like this, it'll be good for him. Um, Thursday night, I sorry, I don't know what happened there. Usually my connection is better than this. So I was talking about the Commanders Packers game. I thought that the Commanders would win. I didn't really believe in the Packers after they beat the Lions, and that's on me. That's on me. Um, I thought the Commanders would upset the Green Bay Packers. I just was like, wow. I still don't really think that the Packers are going to be a Super Bowl contender, but they're getting closer. If Jordan Love Jordan Love takes the leap that many people thinks he will, I think they could be in play for the Super Bowl. They made it to the NFC um, divisional game, and then hopefully they can get to the NFC Championship game. I don't know if they can beat the Eagles yet. That's the thing. Like I don't think they can beat the Eagles yet. Um, there are a lot of contenders in the NFC, so it can happen. I'm not gonna put my chips on it, but if they do, I'll be happy for them. Jordan Love's a really good quarterback, and I think that if he beats the Eagles and goes to the Super Bowl, and like it will be good thing for Green Bay to come, especially with it being Micah Parsons' first year in Green Bay, which is pretty funny. Detroit, Chicago. Oh gosh, um, Ben Johnson's homecoming party was getting smoked by Dan Campbell and the Lions. And I don't think that the Dan Campbell really ran the score up on him, or was like trying to be like, oh, he's a traitor, stuff like that. I just think that it was more like, I think that's how Dan Campbell always is. I don't think that he's particularly a spiteful person. Um, I just think that when it comes to playing games and stuff like that, he's really intense, and I think that he'll do everything he can to win, even like potentially running the score up on somebody. Because yeah, the Chicago Bears are not a good team. And Caleb Williams, the quarterback, is like, I think he still has potential, but he has a little lower floor than I originally thought. Because he played at USC, my favorite college team, and I saw the flashes, like the big plays he would have and stuff like that. But his last year at USC, I was kind of scared. Like I was kind of like I had a feeling like he spent too much time trying to play hero ball, and like many of the games we lost that year was like he was trying too hard to play hero ball. He was like throwing the ball up and it getting picked or something like that. And even though he had a lot of great plays, he had a lot of bad plays as well. So if Ben Johnson can coach that out of him in the next year, like not like totally out of him that he'll never do it, but just less, like less. Next, Seahawks, Steelers. Oh my gosh, I don't get. So the Seahawks won, and I picked the Seahawks to win because I was like, I think the Seahawks are a lot better than people give them credit for. It's kind of like, I think that the Seahawks have a good defensive coach. I think they have a good offensive coordinator in Kubiak. I think they have a average to above average quarterback. They have above average running back play. They're getting better on the O-line. They drafted a top guard when their guard play was the worst in the nation last year. So that should be going up. I just don't understand why people are just throwing even the chance that Sam Darnold is a above average quarterback out just because of 2 games in the last. So they're like pushing away the 14 games he won and only focusing on the 2 games which His offensive line chose the worst time to just fall apart. And granted, he did not do well those games. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say none of it was his fault. But in the playoff game, I said this as well. Like, the offensive line and Sam Darnold picked the worst time to, like, fall apart. Because, yes, Sam Darnold did do some, like, held the ball onto the ball too long and took some needless sacks. But also, the offensive line was doing him no favors. Like, they were injured, I guess, and the Rams just took advantage, and the Detroit Lions just blitzed everything, like through the whole kitchen cabinet. So the Seahawks won, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I had a feeling that last week was a fluke for the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially with Aaron Rodgers and whatever their offensive coordinator's name is. I forgot. But Arthur Smith, I think. But, I mean, Seattle's defense is really good, so even without Witherspoon. So I think that this was a good litmus test for Seattle and Pittsburgh. Next, Baltimore Browns. Like, in my heart of hearts, I had an inkling of a feeling that the Browns might take this, because they just, like, Baltimore has a excuse me. Baltimore has a habit of doing this at the beginning of the season. Like, when they have, like, a big loss to a big team, especially last year, but, like, they always seem to lose these weird games that they have no business of losing. Like last year when I think they lost to the Browns, but, like, most of me was like, yeah, they're going to win this game. They're going to win it pretty handily. Yeah. And I saw one person say, oh, the Browns are going to sign Tucker, Justin Tucker, after his suspension is over, which is hilarious. Jacksonville, Cincinnati. I picked the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this because I don't believe in Cincinnati at the beginning of the season, but they proved me wrong. Especially after Burrow got hurt at the beginning of the game. Like, they thoroughly impressed me that they ended up beating Jacksonville. But how this affects the rest of the season when they're playing a team that is higher caliber than Jacksonville. Like, Jacksonville is a decent team. I'm not going to say they're, like, bottom of the barrel team. But this game, like, I watched highlights of it. It was just weird game. But since Joe Burrow is out for 3 months or 12 weeks, at least, I don't know how the Bengals are gonna handle it. I think that they may just fall apart, but they did pretty well last time Joe Burrow got hurt with Jake Browning. So, like, there's a chance that they're not as good, but they're playing fine. They might get a couple. They'll probably get a couple wins because Jake Browning's a pretty good backup quarterback. So, We'll see. San Francisco, New Orleans. I picked the Saints to win this mostly because Brock Purdy was out, and I didn't know Mac Jones still had this kind of ability. I just, but it was pretty close. I was like, wow, the 49ers defense locked up at the end. And Mac Jones seems to be pretty competent in this system. So, do I think they'll win next week? This coming week against the Cardinals? We'll see. Hopefully not, because I'm a Cardinals fan, but we'll see. We'll see, because my team is like, we have a habit of blowing games like this, but hopefully we win. So, in the Saints, man, it's just so sad to see a team in this state. Like, so much cap hell that they had to take their medicine at some point. They kept kicking the can down the road, being like, "Oh, we're just one player away. Oh, we're just one." No, you're not. No, you're not. I picked the Giants over the Cowboys, which I thought was going to be a win for me when the Giants went up 37-34 with under a minute to go, and they ended up giving up a late field goal to Brendan Aubrey. Like, when you're up 3, you cannot play prevent, because that's to prevent a touchdown. But they only needed a field goal. So they had a couple timeouts, and they could just dink and dunk down the field because all your defenders are like 15 yards back, and they get like 10 yards of free space, you know. Anyway. Brandon Aubrey is pretty automatic from like 65 under. So once they got into field goal range, I was like, it's going to be tied. And I have a feeling that Dallas is going to win in that scenario, because Dallas still has a good offense. It's just the defense without Micah Parsons just isn't good. And who would have thought that losing your best player, well, non-injured player, injury-prone player, because Diggs is pretty good, but I don't think he's as good as Parsons, and he gets hurt in a couple spots. So, and the Giants, you know, you have Russell Wilson there to keep your star quarterback Jackson Dart from being kicked to the ground and stuff like that. So hopefully the coaching staff stays around to realize that game, but you never know. You know, New England, Miami. I chose New England because after seeing how Miami got blitzed week 1, I was like, I can't trust them to win these games, and I was right, because they didn't win this game. And yeah, it was, even though New England's not really good, they scored 33 points on them, and like it's like, Buffalo, New York. Once I saw it was like 30-10 in the fourth quarter, I was like, 30-3. Really, I was like, wow, that does not bode well for Aaron Glenn and the Jets. It seems like the Bills are not missing a step after last year's loss, but hopefully they can get past Kansas City this year, because that's their goal. They need to get past Kansas City, and I think that they have the talent and the coaching staff to get to the Super Bowl. Now, whether or not, I've said this for years at this point, ever since the 13-second game, I don't know if Coach McDermott is the guy. It's just like he's a floor raiser, not a ceiling raiser. Like I've said this multiple times. Like Coach McDermott is a good coach. Not gonna deny that he isn't. Deny that, but the big thing is he gets really tight in big playoff games. Like when it's the wild card, he doesn't. But when it's big stage, like with against the Chiefs, the 13-second game, he got tight and he made a bad decision. Happened a bunch. I think that he's just not a ceiling raiser. He's not a guy who will help the team get to the Super Bowl. It's just, I think that if they lose again this year, and I thought they should have moved on from him a year ago, 2 years ago, when they lost to the Chiefs again. 2 years ago, when they lost to the Chiefs again, I was like, they need to move on from him, bro. They really need to move on from Sean McDermott. But they did. And they went right back to the AFC Championship game, and they lost again to the Chiefs again. And I don't know if they'll do it, because Sean McDermott is a good coach, and he gets them to the playoffs almost every year, and he gets them at least one playoff win every year, and they're like, oh yeah, he's really good. I'm not saying that he's not really good. I'm just saying that he's not that kind of